you never heard of. Hey everybody, welcome to the Common Folk Podcast with Ben, Morgan, and Andy.
Welcome back to Common Folk.
All right, our mics are back on.
Yeah, there you go. Gotta shut you guys off every
He
now
always
and then.
has to mute us because I guess I'm the talker.
You don't listen. I mean, I tell you something, you just don't listen.
Well, that's pretty normal.
Well, that's just selective hearing.
Yeah, if I
Yeah,
always
exactly.
listened to you, there'd be a problem.
And you don't want to interrupt our stellar intro from Eric Berget there either.
No,
So,
that's
right.
true.
I
That's
get
true.
it. So we already heard a voice. We got a guest on here this week.
Who do we
Yeah.
got? Who do we got,
Yeah,
Andy?
yeah. Kim Kavulak
Very good. Very good.
from the
Ooh,
Nebraska Brewing Company. And do you really have a title, or is it just like the queen of everything? You do it all.
What should happen.
Oh, I
Okay.
like
All right,
That
that.
is actually
Yeah.
my title.
That's great.
I do all the shit that nobody else does or nobody else can do or nobody else wants to do.
Okay. But you
Somebody's
probably know
gotta
how to
do it.
do it all, though, too.
Pretty much.
Okay.
I didn't know that, but that fits very well.
Yeah. I have not brewed beer. And that may be it, or drive the forklift. And I could be forklift certified.
Uh-huh. Oh, you have to be
Just don't-
certified?
You do. And it's really easy. It would take half a day. Guess what? Don't want to.
Well, like you said, the stuff that nobody else wants to do, like
Yeah.
brewing beer's probably the sexy part, right?
Yeah.
That's fun. And who doesn't want to drive forklift? I mean,
Right.
for me, I'd be mobbing around in that thing in the factory. So
Right.
then all the other crap, like, hey, Kim can do it.
Yep. That's what happens.
Yeah, the phone calls, the paperwork,
All of it.
telling somebody, hiring somebody.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to drive the forklift, though.
So, in honor of having Kim here, I actually swung by the brewery
Yes.
this week and picked up a case of beer, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Oh, boy.
And I got one of your new ones, and I haven't tried it yet.
Okay.
It's the pickle fight,
Oh,
I remember
yeah.
seeing that, yeah.
but it's a spicy one. And,
Ooh.
and
I haven't even had the spicy pickle fight yet.
Paul told me it came off that day or earlier
Yep.
that day.
Oh, it did.
Came off the line. So this is fresh beer, but I'm kind of a puss. I don't like spicy.
Andy
You
is
are.
a big puss.
So maybe Ben can have this one, and
There you go.
I can have a taste or something.
Yeah.
But I got all the favorites, and I was told this was yours.
It is. It is. It's the beer that I have been drinking for the better part of, how old? Let me think now. 25 years.
Wait,
So
what
that's
is
the,
it?
The
This is the
Hefeweizen?
EOS Hefeweizen.
Okay.
So this is a beer that we brewed at home. Paul brewed, and I was his able assistant, I guess. Again, doing all the other jobs. He got the sexy job brewer. And this is the beer that started in our home brewing portfolio and translated almost unchanged into our professional world
Okay.
when we opened our brewery in 2007.
Wow.
Well, it's a long time.
So I've been drinking this for a long time.
So before we get like into the history and stuff like that, and we'll crack these open and see what we got, I'm curious. I always try to like keep my ears out of different things people are doing, and I feel like this pickle idea and flavor has kind of started to take off. Like it was in chips for a while. I think it's awesome. And then I heard about you guys doing it. We were down there for the podcast awards, and I'd kind of seen it around, and now I've seen other people kind of getting on that train.
Yeah.
What do you have any idea? Like, what gets you guys to think of something like this, or to go down this road, or to stay ahead of those trends?
It's just something we try to not even follow trends necessarily. We just kind of get together every once in a while. We try to do it quarterly. We call it a drink tank.
Okay.
And we'll sit around together and we'll have a few beers and think about what do we want to do next? What haven't we done? And there's a brewery in Texas, Best Made, I believe they're called. And they actually made a pickle beer. And we're like, well, if they can do it, we can do it. And one of our employees, who is also my daughter-in-law who works for us, loves pickles. And she was like, yeah, let's do a pickle beer. And we're like, okay, we'll try it. We sold so much pickle beer. It was freaking stupid.
And that wasn't a spicy one.
That was not
just
the spicy one. And we're
Okay.
like, okay. And a lot of people mix it either with our lager
yeah.
or in a Bloody Mary.
Oh yeah,
We're like,
okay.
okay, if they're putting in a Bloody Mary, how about a spicy one? Because
Yeah.
that's where, and we were aligning with football season and tailgates, and we're like, it's gonna freaking sell, and it's been crazy. It's unbelievable how much pickle beer we've sold.
So
Crazy.
from a business standpoint, that's what I'm getting at. Like, I feel like you guys are a little bit ahead of some of the trends, with stuff like this, as opposed to following them. So makes perfect sense what you're talking about with
Yeah.
the meetings that you guys have, like just brainstorming what's next.
100%.
Because when you walk into your guys' tap room, I mean, you've got a wall full of options.
Yeah, we have 40 taps on
Yeah.
in there, and some of those are tried and true. Our Hefeweizen, our Cardinal Pale Ale, things that are always going to be in our lineup. They've been in our lineup since day one, and some of those are really new things. The Pickle Fight is a huge one. Give Me S'mores, another one. It's our fall. It's our vanilla brown, and it smells and tastes like a s'more. It's an amazing beer, and that's one we thought it'll be a fun fall beer, and now it's been our seasonal every year. Our Wick for Brains Pumpkin Ale,
I like
one
that.
of probably one of the best pumpkin ales that we make,
Yeah.
or that is made in certainly in the Midwest, if not the country. Has just it's our biggest seasonal, and it's like if you love pickle beers, if you love pumpkin ales, that's the beer to go to.
Yeah. It's awesome.
It's not overbearing, it
Right.
doesn't overdo it.
We
you
use
know
real
what I mean?
pumpkin instead of just spices, and that's really the key.
See,
Interesting.
Oh,
It makes it richer, and
I can't believe there's enough pumpkins on the planet
Right.
for all of the pumpkin flavor stuff that's out anymore.
It's
Seneca
so true.
loves to see our order every year.
I mean,
well, I think a lot of it is fake flavoring, though.
It's got to be.
You know, right?
Most pumpkin ales that you'll taste are just amber ales, typically spiced up with
Yeah.
pumpkin spices. We actually use real pumpkin puree.
Well, I'm talking about like the coffees and
Right, yeah,
that stuff.
absolutely.
I mean, that probably is a lot of artificial flavoring, for lack of a better term.
It has to be. There's no
You know,
way there's that
yeah.
many pumpkins.
I challenged my brewer today. I don't know if he wants me to talk about it, but I challenged my brewer for a Kentucky Derby beer. So
There we go.
boy.
I like that.
stay tuned.
He's got plenty of time. He's got
Yeah.
plenty of time. And that's what podcasts are for, right?
Yeah.
To get some toes in some hot water.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
So what are we going to do?
let's pop the
crack
top
'em?
here.
All right, let's see here. I've got the spicy pickle fight.
I got one of my favorites, the Cardinal Pale Ale.
Oh,
This is one of your guys's. Well, both of these are award-winning beers.
Absolutely.
Your EOS and the Cardinal.
Yeah, and Cardinal is what we would call our flagship beer. It's we call it the beer that built a brewery.
Okay.
So
oh,
Man, so I just cracked it. I haven't even tried it. And I'm sitting on the table, and the aroma's coming from it. It immediately smells like a jar of pickles.
you should have smelled our brewery on Monday when we that was canned on Monday. So that beer is 2 days in that can.
Man. All right, let's give it a shot.
you like pickle chips. You're a big pickle person.
I do.
But is that probably one that people are like, ooh, I only can just do one?
No, people
Okay.
like pickle beer.
Yeah.
They drink that pickle beer.
Okay.
I dig it. It's good. It's not overly spicy, but it's definitely spicy.
So Andy could handle it. Give him a drink.
I don't know if Andy's going to like this.
Oh,
You
come
wanna try
on.
it? I mean, from a spice standpoint.
The regular pickle beer, depending on how bad the Huskers got beat,
Right.
or if they
Yeah.
won, I could do the whole 6-pack.
Right.
So, but I don't know about
So last week was a 6-pack week.
that. Was
Got
a
you.
sick.
Yeah, that was a sixer.
Heard.
That would be. I can see how that would be awesome in a Bloody Mary.
Ooh, that is good. I can do that.
Can
I
you
can do that. There's
Yeah.
a slow burn
Yeah,
at the end there.
yeah.
That's my threshold right there, though. I wouldn't want to do more than that.
That's so interesting.
And so is that seasonal then? Or no, you try
That
how-
will be, well, we thought Pickle Fight was going to be seasonal. We think that is actually going to be a year-round offering now. And this one will probably be seasonal, but we'll see.
Is that the hard thing? Like one of those things trying to figure out what's seasonal and what's
Yeah.
not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you guys probably like them all, that you want to keep them always all going.
Yeah, and certain things are just inherently sell better at
Okay.
certain times of the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
like pumpkin stuff we're talking
Yeah.
about. But okay.
people used to try to tell us the Hefeweizen was a seasonal beer, and I'm like, you're high, because this is a great beer that you can drink all year long.
yeah.
Ask the 25 pounds I gained after we opened the brewery. That would tell you.
It's kind of like
I've lost some of that.
what would they be like? Like a lot of those ones they name like summer drinks, like wheat summer,
Yeah.
Like a
brews
summer
and that.
shandy.
Summer
Yes.
shandy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and people they drink it all year round.
Yeah, when you use those kind of names, you do kind of pigeonhole yourself. We have a great lemon shandy. It's called Squeeze the Day. It's the official beer of the Nebraska Marathon. But we don't call it a summer shandy because then you pigeonhole yourself into
Right,
that.
makes
But when
sense.
people come
Definitely.
in and they want something like that, we're like, hey, we've got this great lemon wheat beer. And they're like, that sounds great.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So where do you want to start, Andy? For me, I'm super curious about her background, how all this came about, and going through what it's turned into today.
Right.
But I don't know if you got any.
Well, yeah,
particular-
we could start there. And when I first became aware of you guys was a number of years ago, where you guys had that restaurant/brewery down in Shadow Lake,
Yeah.
suburb of Omaha. But since that time, that's gone away. Now you got a tap room in a bigger brewery in La Vista, Nebraska. And the people I talk to, your son, Connor, they're like, oh, thank God we got rid of that restaurant. I'm like, man, I really like that place, though. I like the food. I like the ambiance. I liked it all. And it was actually one of my go-tos for Christmas. I would get everybody whatever garb you guys had out.
Oh, nice.
You know, the glasses, a fancy six-pack, a growler filled with the seasonal beer.
Sure.
And that's kind of how I took care of Christmas for 5 or 6 years.
Nice.
For everybody. So I was kind of sad to see it go.
We can still help you with the merch.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, and you can help them with the
That's
merch.
right.
Exactly.
So I guess could we start there? Like you mentioned how you guys started in a basement and then it grew from there.
Yeah, so we were IT professionals. My husband was a senior vice president of IT for a local company, West Corporation, and I had been an IT project manager and had stayed home with our kids for a while, and we just had homebrewed. So fast forward, we decided we could make this beer. We could do this for a living. We were younger then, and we figured, if not now, when? And so we put together a business plan with a friend of ours, and one day my husband said, if we don't do this 100%, then we probably, we won't make this work. And I said, yep. And he pulled out his phone and he quit his job.
Oh, wow.
So we had 0 jobs at that point. And so we went to work, and that was in 2006. We opened our doors in 2007, about 2 minutes before the recession.
Oh.
And,
boy.
Yes, it seemed like at the time, because you're in the middle of all that, and you're like flying the plane of the belly, like scraping the ground, trying to figure out how to make shit work. And that is exactly how I got my title, frankly. We had to reduce a lot of overhead, so I quickly figured out how to run a restaurant, which I had never done. And that restaurant became a labor of love for me. I loved that place and the people that worked with us and who helped us not only build the restaurant, but build the craft beer community in Omaha. Because when we opened in 2007, we were the 5th brewery in the entire state. There's somewhere near between 60 and 70, depending on who you ask. We were the 5th. So that became our platform. And that's why we opened the restaurant, because we didn't think there was a good market for being able to
just beer
package and sell the beer and make it work. We were like, we need a little more than that. And that's why we went into the restaurant side of it. And
so that was your only place? That was the tap house? That was everything? That was the brewery?
Yeah,
that was
everything was there.
The layout was cool. I mean, have you guys been there?
Oh, yeah,
I don't
for sure.
remember it.
Yeah.
No, you do. You've definitely been there.
Okay.
It's so now it's a different restaurant now. I don't remember what they call
pizzeria,
it.
I think.
Yeah, pizza
it's Cops
place.
Pizza.
Yeah, Cops,
He's a good kid.
Yeah, so we've been down there for the pizza.
Oh.
But we were there plenty of times prior to when it was Nebraska Brewing.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
okay.
And you guys did like those little pony cakes or the
We
bubble
did.
cakes? Yeah,
God, so many things over the years.
Yep,
We have so many stories to tell. I always say this is going to make a great chapter in the book
okay.
someday.
Yeah, going through that for sure. What? So you mentioned that you guys were home brewing and those kinds of things. Like what sparked that interest? Like where did that even come from?
I think my husband, he got a homebrew kit for Christmas one year. I was just like, super simple, like the most common denominator brewing kit, and he really liked it. If you ever meet my husband, Paul, he doesn't do things in a small way. Everything is 0 or 1,000, and he of course went 1,000. So.
That's funny because I remember buying him one, and we don't have a brewery. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean
Did something else
forever
that
ago.
1,000 though.
that was back in the day. It might have been the similar kind of thing.
Yeah,
I
it was
think they
like-
called it like Mr. Beer or
Yep.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we did a few things, and I was like, man, this is pretty cool.
And
but
they were good, but
I looked at because I'm always looking at different things, from an entrepreneurial mindset, and I'm like, geez, man, this would be a beast to take this on. Like it's fun, but I'm not taking this beast on.
Yeah, most people think it's easier to just go buy a 6-pack than to brew,
Yeah.
go through that whole
Heck
process to
yeah.
make their own. So,
wow, good for your
So
husband.
you guys started with something like that, playing around with it at home,
yep. And
then, like you said, just got the fire and was
Yeah,
like, man,
just-
we got to do this.
just literally got bigger and bigger. And he just got disillusioned, I'll say, with his corporate career. And we got there. And Cardinal, I said earlier, was we call it the beer that built the brewery. So we were actually emulating Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, one of the best pale ales out there.
Yeah,
Still
solid.
love it. And he couldn't get it. And he wasn't happy with it. And he came home from a bad day at work and threw all the hops he had in it and put the lid on and just walked away from it for 2 weeks. He's like, screw it, I'm done. And he came back 2 weeks later to clean up what he thought was going to be a disaster mess. And it was that beer.
Oh, really?
But then he's like, shit, what did I throw in there?
Yeah.
And so he takes meticulous notes, makes meticulous notes. So he had to go back to his notes, figure out what he'd already put in there, what he was missing from his hop inventory and then kind of backed into what became the recipe.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah, it's just like one of those happy accident stories that like, okay, that beer we could sell, this beer we can sell. And that's how we just built our business plan, which, as you probably know, goes out the window the minute you open a business.
Sure.
I mean, it's all good on paper, but those were the things that got us to where we opened the doors in 2007.
And Paul, he strikes me as a guy that doesn't throw away those notes. He wants to be able to go back to them, right?
His original beer log is actually in the trophy case in our brewery.
That's awesome. I was going to say,
like
man,
from
I would frame that.
1992.
That's pretty cool.
That tells you how old we are. But there's the original notebook is still in the trophy case.
That's
Wow.
pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet.
Had you guys done anything as far as going out on your own prior to that, or was it all corporate work prior to that?
It was all corporate work prior to that. I had never so much as waited at a table in my entire life, which I love now.
Yeah.
I would do in a second again. I miss the restaurant was a labor of love. I miss it
Yeah.
some days.
Some
Yeah.
days.
Some days more, some days less.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
bet.
Yeah, and it sounded like it wasn't like a terrible story. It was more of like we needed a different space or a bigger space, and plus restaurants are what they are.
A little bit of all of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we needed more space. We decided as we were growing, and we can tell you, like, we were at our height of distribution. We were in 38 states, distribution, 5 countries, and we were selling everything in draft. So I was all kegs or hand bottled, our high end barrel aged stuff. And so we were like, okay, do we want to grow up and put on our big pants and can beer? And we're going to need a bigger facility. And beer's really our first love. And Omaha restaurants are hard and people are fickle. And like it's been great to us, and it did what we wanted it to do. It got us the opportunity to get our beer into people's hands in grocery stores, in restaurants, in our walls. So we're like, this has run its course. Our first love is beer. Let's focus on that. And that's why we closed the restaurant in 2019, somehow fortuitously before COVID. And then, but we had already had this facility since 2014.
Oh, so you had 2
So we
locations.
had 2 for those 5 years.
Well, in your new one, the tap room, you can host events, like you mentioned, the podcast awards. You can branch out. I swung by, you guys were doing like a corporate cornhole tournament, and
with the Nebraska Sports Council on Monday and Tuesday this week.
ran into some of my buddies from Lynch.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
shoot.
Andy? Yeah, he works at a medical place. Yeah, and he's like, I got called in to be on the cornhole team. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, we do all kinds of things.
Yeah, so, but it gives you that flexibility. You can still serve. Well, and you were serving catered in food.
I was doing the catering that night, so again.
Oh, God.
Old habits die hard. Or
Yeah,
something like that.
exactly.
So the business of alcohol and beer and so on and so forth, I'm curious, and maybe some of our listeners are, because we've talked to a couple of other distillers and not, I don't think we've talked to any beer companies, but what's it like? How does it work to get your stuff out? Because it sounds to me like the stuff that I'm hearing in the back end, that is a beast.
It can be. It's certainly, you're at the mercy of other people. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So Nebraska's a 3-tier state, which means for beer, at least, we have to use a distributor to get our beer into the hands of consumers in grocery stores.
I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. I think that's point number one, is people just think like, you guys have a pretty good sized facility, you're brewing a lot of beer, and you're just going down to Hy-Vee and selling it to them, or you're going to XYZ bar and selling it to them. And it just doesn't work that way.
No, you can't do that, actually. Well, they do have a new carve out, but it's very small, and it's for very, very small breweries. It's a very small amount of beer. I think it's 250 barrels a year or something like that, and only those people can go directly to the Hy-Vees and sell it. That was a new carve out last year to allow for small companies that can't get picked up by distributors, because distributors, again, 15, 16, we have our Sweet 16 next month. 16 years ago, distributors were asking, they were begging, they're like, we want to build our craft portfolio. We want you. And now they're being much more, because there are so many breweries in the country.
Yeah.
There were 1,400 breweries in the country when we started. There are 9,000 now.
Wow.
So distributors are much more selective about their portfolios, and they're dropping smaller breweries, and what that does is gives them no access to the market, to restaurants, to grocery stores, to convenience stores. So Nebraska in particular created out this carve out last year for very small producers, so they would have an opportunity at least to get their beer into the hands of consumers.
I like that. That's huge.
Yeah, it is. But it's hard because you talk about people who make shit happen. Those people are their own distributor, their own truck drivers, their
Yeah.
own. I mean, they're doing it
That's
all.
true.
They're driving their beer from Hastings to Omaha to drop it at wall to wall or whatever to just to make that happen. But it's the opportunity they have to do it is key. But then that gives them at least a springboard to potentially get to a bigger distributor at some point.
Do you welcome that, or do you view that as like, well, you're bending the rules or making new rules for new guys? We didn't have that.
Nah, we welcome that. I
Okay.
mean, our goal when we did this, and we were we were number 5, and we created the Great Nebraska Beer Fest in 2009, I think it was. And our whole goal was to, again, take people on this craft beer journey. By God, if we're going to be on it, we want to drag you along with us,
Yeah.
So we ran that festival for 10 years, and COVID happened, and we have not rejuvenated it. Beer fests are a different story, but it served its purpose. It ran its course, and we not only helped consumers come on the craft beer journey with us, we helped grow the craft beer community in the sheer number of breweries that we have seen proliferate. So we welcome we call it co-opetition, because we all are in the same boat. We're small.
Well, wouldn't it kind of like be the tide rises all boats?
It
Kind of like one of those deals?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
In theory, and it used to be that way much more in the craft beer world. There are some sassholes out there that make it harder for people.
Sure.
But for the most part, craft beer people are the people that want to help each other, and we want to see each other succeed. So we welcome all of that, all those opportunities for everybody to succeed.
So before I met any of you guys, Paul, Connor, I thought you guys made it due to the fact I went on a canoeing trip out around down the Niobrara River. Everyone does it, go out to western Nebraska, the Valentine area, beautiful country. A lot of fun stuff to do out there, especially if you're an outdoorsman,
Absolutely.
right? And I was driving through Springview, a town of, 200 people?
Yeah.
They have one gas station, and I picked up a 6-pack of your IPA.
Nice.
I'm like, if I can buy it in Springview, Nebraska, you got something going on there.
Right on.
So
with the distributors, I think probably my last question on that is, how much does that step control your business? With what you have to do with retail.
Gigantic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gigantic. And we've been fortunate, but in many ways, we make a great product. We have a great story. We've been fortunate and calculating along the way about how we've run our business. And we've certainly got some good breaks along the way, but we've been deliberate about some things that we've done along the way, and making great beer is the first thing. So we wanted to make sure that those were first and foremost. But knowing that we originally were with a different distributor in Omaha, our rights were bought. It's kind of like the trading somebody in the MLB.
Right,
They can trade your rights and buy your rights, basically. Or if we wanted to leave one, our new distributor that we've been with for probably 10, 12 years, Quality Brands of Omaha and Quality Brands of Lincoln. They bought our rights from the previous company because they wanted to build their portfolio. So aligning yourself with somebody who thinks your beer is as good as you do, who wants to sell your beer the way you want it to be sold, who has the same goals in mind is huge for
That's so
that.
crazy when you think about that. Like
It
people,
is.
people
I
don't
I did not know
understand.
that was a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's we call it, you're married for life, basically. When you
Yeah.
it's a franchise state, so once you sign your rights, you're married for life, unless somebody
So they could divorce you or you divorce them?
they could drop us.
Okay. But
Easily.
you wouldn't drop them.
We couldn't. We would have to buy our rights out.
Oh my God.
Or
Okay.
ask to be released.
Yeah.
And then they could choose to release us or not, basically.
Yeah, and you kind of used a sports analogy there, and what that reminded me of is a lot of these high school coaches telling their kids, yeah, you might want to play for the University of Nebraska or for the University of Creighton, but if so-and-so is recruiting you and they want you, that staff wants you, go there.
Right.
You're going to want to go somewhere where they want you,
Right.
and it's
Absolutely.
the same
Absolutely.
deal there. You want to be with a distributor that believes in your brand, in
Yep.
your
Absolutely.
beer, so.
So these steps and how all this works, is it just because I don't understand why it even exists? Is it just because of like old school liquor laws?
Yeah, it goes back to early days of alcohol and tied
Yeah.
houses. That's what it goes back to, so that they couldn't have monopolies,
So there's
basically.
some kind of
But
control over
yeah,
it. And
absolutely.
Yeah. And everyone's getting their taxes and their payments
Oh,
and
yeah.
all the things.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. It's a wild business. I
It
mean, the
is.
more you hear about it, it's like, man,
Well, and it's crazy. Like Iowa's is so much different than ours, right?
Every
And
state, every
Wisconsin's is
state that
different
we
than theirs.
physically touch is a self-distribution state. That said, I mean, obviously, we pay percentage to our distributor to distribute our beer and get out in the market because that's the Nebraska law. If I was in a self-distribution state and I wanted to distribute my own beer, then I've got my own sales people. I have to have my own marketing department. I have to have my own trucks.
Trucks, yeah.
I have to have, all of these things that my distributor does provide for me. I mean, there's a huge value in what they can provide for us.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And they handle, they run the trucks. They have their we have our salespeople as well, but they have salespeople that go out into accounts that we can't always get to. They have a great print shop and a marketing department where we're like, hey, we need these posters or these flyers. So there's huge value they bring to us in so many ways, and we appreciate that from that perspective. So you think about all these states that are self-distribution, but there's a lot that they have to take on then that we don't have to necessarily think about.
Or they feel they should. Do they really help reaching beyond just the state borders?
Only if they have distributorships outside of the state. So our particular distributor in Nebraska, who has a good portion of our rights, also has a distributorship in Colorado and Wyoming and South Dakota.
Okay.
So we work through them to distribute in those states.
Interesting.
Yeah, because everyone talks about those Wisconsin beers and how you can't get them, and it used to be the same with Colorado. You couldn't get Coors Light. Back in the day. Because you couldn't cross state lines with it. So I would think a distributor could really help.
Absolutely.
With getting your product into other areas.
And in states where our distributor here doesn't have rights, then we work with, Wisconsin, we have a distributor there. So we truck the beer to that distributor and then they get out to the retailers. And so in those instances, we just have agreements with distributors in those states where.
Well, and so, and that's another part of it that a hidden benefit maybe, where we work with a sports drink on the sports broadcasting. And that was the first thing they did was they set up with the distributor here in Omaha before they even tried to go talk to Hy-Vee or gas stations, stuff like that.
Because those, again, there's well, it seems like it leans a lot in the favor of the distributor, and depending on what day you look at it, maybe. But there's also a lot of added value that they bring to somebody of our size that I don't have to deal with all trucks and delivery people and all those kinds of things. That's part of the value that they bring for us.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So from a business standpoint and what you guys have been doing and what you explained to us and how you guys started, what's it been like, because we kind of do the same thing here, working directly with your husband every day?
Wow.
Like how has that worked? And what's
you're still married.
Yeah,
so.
right. Yeah, nobody's lost an eye.
Yeah, and what's behind my question is like, a lot of people that I talk to or that I see online, they're like, oh yeah, we're a family-owned business. We do this. It's so great. Blah, blah, blah. You hear all this.
I don't know who those people are.
Dude.
You hear fluff.
Who the hell are those people?
Yeah.
because some days are like, yes, we're all holding hands and singing Kumbaya. And we're all on the same page.
Right.
Other days
but some days it's like, somebody's got to go home. I don't know who it is, but somebody's got to leave.
Yeah.
But Paul and I in particular have very different styles. He's very much fly at 50,000 feet. He is looking where we're at 6 months from now, a year from now, those kinds of things. He's always been that kind of director, leader. I'm going to be the boots on the ground. I got this. Here's how I'm going to do it. I don't care what your paper said, but here's how I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it more efficiently, and I'm probably going to make it happen faster. So we have very different styles. So that helps, I think, because we're not like battling for the same kind of control, if you will.
Yeah.
Our kids have come up in the business. They were 10, 12, and 14 when we started. So they literally have grown up watching us struggle on some days. And learn what really hard work can really produce. So that's been, I think, a great benefit. I don't know if you asked them if they would say that, but that's what I think. That's the story I tell.
And they all work for you now?
They don't. Our daughter's the one that got away. She actually works for OPPD, but she did work for us for a while. So she's been in the business. She worked in our restaurant, and she worked with us at the tap room for a while. And Connor does all our social media marketing, some sales, just kind of our ambassador, if you will. And our oldest son, Dylan, works in our warehouse and does all our shipping and warehouse and logistics. My mom's 82. She still works for us part-time.
Oh,
yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, right. So we really are, but all these people that are like, saying like, it's amazing. Every day is just a picnic. I'm like, who are you?
Yeah.
Who are you people?
No, I've never heard that really. Like you hear what you've said, but like
No, I mean, I see stuff. I mean,
No.
you know, it's like on social media or whatever
I
else.
know.
People
Well,
are,
that's such shit.
I know, right?
well, we're all still on it and look at it every day.
well, no,
But
I know,
Right.
but I'm
It's-
just saying, yeah.
people are always like,
I want to see their
it's all-
books when their books come out because that's going to tell the
Yeah,
real
they're
shit.
always doing that. They're like, oh, we're just in La La Land. It's so great. I get to be around my spouse every single day, and
My
we're just
best
so
friend.
happy, and everything's great. It's not the case.
I know, Paul. I love you. When you listen to this, he wants to carpool every day. I'm like, no, can we not carpool? I know we're leaving the same house and going to the same place and coming back, but like I just need like 30 minutes a day where
Yeah.
I don't have to listen to somebody. I
Yeah.
can listen to a podcast or listen to nothing or
Right.
Yeah.
whatever. White knuckle drive home in the rain last night was terrible, but yeah, it's it's some days it's good, some days it's
For sure.
more challenging.
I feel like probably when you guys had 2 locations, that was probably helpful too. Like I feel like with us, like he'll do a lot of computer work, admin stuff at home.
Yeah.
And then I'm here a lot. Like if you were at the restaurant and you guys still at the brewery at the same time, maybe that was good. But like that would not probably work for us.
Yeah.
So we're
Nobody's died though.
no.
Nobody's lost a limb. Or
But I mean,
eye or-
you guys
We're
are
still
probably just
married.
going
Yeah.
100.
We're still married.
120,
Yeah.
miles an hour. That
Yeah.
you guys are at least probably passing ships though too, right? Like it's not like you're sitting there at a
Yeah.
computer all day right by each other.
I'm
are you?
certainly not. No.
Okay. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So
Yeah.
How's it been, with your 2 sons? That can't always be a walk in the park. And one of my references, we would always go to Canada every June, and we watched this family run business, this outfit that would always go to. The sons started taking over a lot of the day-to-day stuff and the guiding. And every year we went back, this kid, went from 19 to 20 to 21. He got grumpier and grumpier and shorter. And he was taking on more responsibility. And you could kind of just, where it used to be the old man, now he's up on the deck having a nice little mimosa in the morning. And he's down here, getting our boat
slaving
ready.
away.
Yeah, getting our boat ready. And you just every year he got a little bit grumpier. It's like, man, I bet he's taking on more responsibility, probably not getting paid as much as an actual employee. How do you guys go about balancing that?
Well, first of all, we do encourage them to like balance what they do at work versus and there's a lot and we probably do expect more of them than maybe the average employee. Like I need you here on Saturday to run this pickleball tournament or whatever. But we also try to tell them to do what they need to do. And there was probably a time when in the middle when they were like, this sucks because my 24-year-old friends are out having fun and I got to be here. But they've kind of grown into it over time and balanced things out. So.
Okay.
I'm sure they realize there's a lot of flexibility though too.
They do
right?
have a lot of flexibility.
Yeah.
And they realize that they were probably, along with their sister, this is going to be theirs someday. And that was the whole thought in Paul's mind when he created this, is he wanted this to be a legacy. My first question was like, what if they don't want it? What if they don't want this place? But I think ultimately that's the goal, is that this will be theirs and we will sit back and I think. I don't know. Maybe.
No,
on
you're
some
going to be
level.
your mom. What are you
I
talking
know. I
about?
probably will. I don't know what I would do if I just sat at home every day. I don't think I could do it. But
Yeah.
I hear you.
I could vacation once or twice a year more than I do. But
Yeah.
that's beside the point.
That's him. I always say he's going to like die working.
Yeah, we probably will.
I don't see any reason not to.
So, should we talk about the 50 mile?
Yeah, man, let's take a quick break and then we'll jump
right.
into that. That's something very interesting. I'm excited to hear about. So,
All right. Let's do it.
Right on.
this episode is brought to you by a company near and dear to our hearts, Farm Focused. FarmFocused.com, FOCUSED. It's the #1 provider of branded merchandise for the top brands in agriculture. Folks like Millennial Farmer, Welker Farms, Larson Farms, Calf Fed, so many more. Again, check it out, FarmFocused.com. Being Farm Focused is a way of life. It's a brand you can be proud to be part of. Thanks for listening. All right, welcome back. We're still here with Kim from Nebraska Brewing. How's it going?
I'm still hanging in. This is fun.
Hanging in, all right. What else you got over there in that cooler, Andy?
We got to reload, don't we?
Yeah, let's get some.
Ben, I saw you drinking that spicy. I really thought
Yeah.
it would come out red.
Oh, I didn't look at the color. No, it's not red.
It's not. I don't, you know what I mean? When you think, I just thought it would be kind of like more clamato,
Like-
tomato-y.
No, it's the spices that go in it that give it the
Okay.
heat.
No,
Yeah.
that's maybe sounds.
I got the original.
Oh,
and
do you want to stay pickle
I kn-
consistent?
I noticed this. I'll drink the original pickle
Uh-huh.
if you want to shift gears a little
Yeah.
bit. but you guys put a lot of thought into your artwork.
We do.
And when I bring it up to Connor, he's like, no one ever notices. I'm like, well, I do. There's
We've
just
talked about it. We've talked about it a few
I
times.
thought, and you might be getting into this, but when I was looking at this one, I thought it might have been modeled after Connor.
there's a handlebar mustache.
Please don't ever tell him that.
But
Can we edit that out?
the opponent, that's what I noticed. Check that. Look at that little detail that you can appreciate.
Geez, I didn't
that.
even notice that. That's awesome.
We have an amazing graphic arts team in Omaha. Turnpost has done all of our labels since the beginning of time.
So this is like a third-party graphic designer.
They are.
Awesome.
We contracted them in the very beginning. They have literally designed every label for us. They have kept us on track with branding, and we go to them and we say, we want a really fun label, and they brought us back Pickle Fight.
That's
when
great.
we had our Wick for Brains pumpkin ale.
Oh,
They
I
brought
love
us
that one.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, here's the story. They brought us this, like, the first draft was like this jolly pumpkin. We're like, no, we wanted to fucking scare kids. And they came back with this one, and it's just like this scary pumpkin. We're like, that's what we wanted.
So that's what I was thinking. Do you come to them with any ideas, or they just, because that's got to be hard.
Yeah.
Like when we, are designing shirts or whatever, like our graphic. I mean, some direction is a little bit helpful.
For sure. And
Do
we
you?
sit with them
Okay.
and we say, here's what we're thinking. Here's what we're
Okay.
behind. We did a huge redesign of the Ailstorm label for the Storm Chasers this year.
Okay.
We did. It had been here we had it for 10 years. And we're like, okay, it needs a facelift.
Yeah.
And we did a whole new redesign this year. We met with the Storm Chasers, Marty Cordero and his crew, our Turnpost group, and we all just kind of got on board, and we did a redesign. It was all their jerseys. It was their 3 main jerseys.
Wow.
And in a 6-pack, there were 2 cans with 3 different jerseys. Their home whites, their powder blues and grays, and then the number on the jersey. The story on the side of the can is told what that number means. It was the year that can was designed, and any pertinent facts like that year that helped us pick that jersey.
It's awesome.
Oh, I like that.
So it's kind of cool. It's kind of fun to do those things. So we do put thought into it and just kind of give it a little personality.
Yeah. Well, so we did our sports betting podcast with those cans with the jerseys, and a lot of those numbers you're highlighting some like all-stars, guys that went on to the next level,
Absolutely.
and World Series winners. And one of our listeners watched one of our YouTube shorts and like, where'd you get that 6-pack? That's my guy. That's Eric Hauser. He's like, I got to have that. So the next time I was out there, I picked up a 6-pack for him.
Yeah, nice. And people
yeah.
relate to especially sports stuff like that. So yeah.
Sure.
Eric Hosmer was the guy. Yep.
So you got me the Cardinal. I'm gonna tap into
So
this.
good.
And that design has gotten you some notoriety across the border. Haven't the Cardinals actually got a hold of you guys?
We did get a
The
cease and
baseball
desist.
team.
We got a cease and desist from them.
Oh,
And
really?
They might have. No, they weren't. They might have. I don't think they were our first one. They might have been our first one. But yeah, so we ended up doing a no royalty agreement with them. We can't have a professional baseball team, and they will not produce a beer using that said logo. So
I thought
think
you
we're
were going to
safe.
maybe say that they would sell it there. But
Yeah,
dang it.
we'd love we may get back into St. Louis soon, but yeah, and we had to change the font. So if you ever look at the font on it, we got to keep the C, but we had to change the ARDINAL because it was too
my
close to the
gosh.
font that they had. And we actually used the font that we used. My husband's grandparents had a bar in Omaha, in South Omaha, years ago called the Cardinal Bar.
Oh.
That's what the beer is actually named
Nice.
after. And we actually took the font off of the sign that they had outside of their bar.
So first of all, I can see why this is one of your flagships
God, I love that beer.
because it's awesome. Second of all, don't you think like that's kind of when you've made it, when like the professional baseball team contacts you and they're
Yeah,
like, you're gonna have to
true.
stop doing that.
It's funny, like when we got our first cease and desist or we got our first lawsuits, it's like you panic a little bit. You're like, shit. Now I'm like, yes, bring it on. I'm like, oh, really? Yeah, get in line.
we
You know,
go,
like,
yeah.
I got you. I'll get to this next week. I mean,
yeah.
you just learn to deal with shit like that.
Another thing that people, we were talking about the distributors and those kinds of things that people don't understand that small businesses have to go through. So you just must have like a lawyer group on retainer.
do.
I mean, like just constantly, like, oh, here comes something else. Here comes something else.
We do. We learn to use them less as little as we can.
Yeah, yeah.
But as other new brewers were coming up, it's the first thing I said. I said, get yourself a great accountant and get yourself a great lawyer.
Yeah.
Use them only when you have to. I
Yeah,
said,
'cause
actually, no,
they're-
use the accountant all the time because that's fucking worth its weight in gold.
Oh yeah.
But I'm like, you got to have people in your corner that go and we are fortunate. One of the things that people may or may not know about us. My husband and I are the sole owners of Nebraska Brewing Company. We risked everything we had ever worked for as grown adults, like just rolled the dice and said, fuck it, let's go. And it's worked. We're here 16 years later. A lot of breweries and a lot of small businesses have investor groups.
Yeah.
So that's great for them if that's what it takes for you. Like, I'm not knocking that at all, but in those investor groups, sometimes they've got a lawyer or they've got an accountant that give them advice, which is perfect if that works for them. But yeah, it's just us, and we're neither a lawyer or an accountant.
Yeah.
It made me think of, we had our lawyer on here, I don't know, a few episodes ago, and we were just giving him shit about how freaking expensive he is. So.
There is, but sometimes it's worth it.
Yeah.
I mean,
It is worth it.
I got a kick out of how he's like, well, that's actually last year's rate. My rates have gone up.
He's like, I got 4 kids now and a new house.
We had to go.
Thanks.
Yeah, we had to go to war literally over this one issue a couple years back, and I was like, I don't care how much it cost me right now. Like, they saved me triple what it cost me, so it was amazing. So.
Yeah.
Yep, you got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
You do. So part 2, man, what do we got?
Well, you guys, like all great companies do, and you ready for a refill too?
I am, yeah.
All right.
I think I'll do a cold beer if you've got one in there.
Cold beer is my new favorite.
Awesome. I love it.
The cream ale.
The cream ale. This is so good.
Oh, I like that can too.
I know. Doesn't it scream America?
Totally.
And Nebraska.
Chimney Rock, all of it. Chimney Rock, it's got it all on there.
That is cool.
And if I'm getting this right, the cold beer was so more of your casual drinkers could come in and just enjoy a couple.
Yeah.
You don't have to be an IPA guy, or be a lager guy, lagerhead.
Yeah.
You can just go have a couple cream ales and enjoy. You know, you don't have to be a beer guy.
Kind of that crossover beer for the casual drinker. And we have a couple that are lighter now, even than this. We have a really nice light lager.
The Taco Vesa?
Well, we have one even lighter than that.
Really?
Taco Vesa is our Mexican lager, which is so good. And I had that for a while. And then we have Good Game.
Oh, yeah.
Ben always makes fun of me for what I say when I walk into breweries that I don't know. I'm like, do you have something light? He's like, God, they gotta hate that.
No,
shit.
now we have an option. Now we have a great option for it. And we do that for people who...
I'm totally the one that's like, I don't really know. All this stuff on the board, it's too much.
Yeah.
Just
Sometimes it is.
Can you just say, like, this light beer is like Michelob Ultra? You know, like, do a equal. Like, but like, then I would be like, yep, want that one. Like, I'm not saying it needs to taste just like it.
Right.
But I need it to be, like, not as heavy.
Get me in the ballpark.
Yeah.
When you come in and drink Good Game. When you come back from your...
Is that what I had?
I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it was you or my dad when we were down there for the podcast awards.
I had a few.
We had ordered
Smelled good.
that Good Game,
For sure.
Okay.
and it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I asked, and he did this like eye roll, like, are you freaking asking?
No,
for
that's why
light
we make
beer?
it. That is
Like,
literally.
I don't know what
That's
else
why
to
we
say.
have 40 taps. We want to get everybody from the light beer drinker to that hop head and the lager heads in between. All of it. We got it.
For sure.
Nice. And that all goes back into your guys' business model and why you guys have been able to hang around for 16
Hopefully.
years now, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but part of that is, you got to give back to philanthropy and all that.
Yeah.
And you guys do some pretty cool things. And we've already had a couple guests on that have brought this function up. You're a board member. You're heavily involved in it. And I know, doesn't it conclude at the brewery?
It does.
And we're talking about the 50-mile march. And this is all to help out and support veterans that, homelessness, mental problems, all sorts of things. And I mean, just hearing that, you're already on board.
For sure.
So, but we don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
People have mentioned it and brought it up. We wanted to get you on so you could actually tell us what it is and how can we get involved, all the things.
Gosh, so many ways. So the 50-mile march was created by Jay Morales, Jamie Seaman, and Matt Bills. And it was created, I think, in 2020, right at COVID, the first year. So what they wanted to do is they wanted to walk from Lincoln to Omaha, 50 miles in theory, to raise money for veterans dealing with PTSD, mental health challenges, homelessness.
Okay.
Their goal is to raise $2,500. That first year, they raised $25,000.
Wow.
So they were like, sweet, we're on to something. Jamie Seaman at the time was Mrs. Nebraska. She wore her crown the entire way and her sash. And so she brought a great level of heightened awareness.
She turned some heads.
Yeah. She's a
Okay.
fantastic person.
I'm sure she's
but
beautiful.
her platform, I mean, just the platform she had as Mrs. Nebraska
Yeah.
brought a lot of attention to to the cause. And that was the first year. So they said, let's do this again. So Jay Morales, who's one of the founders, I got introduced to him by a gal named Taylor Olam, who is Guitars for Vets. And that's another organization we can just touch on, but they're one of the ones that benefited from this. And she connected us because she said, I know these people, and they would be great for this. She had posted something. I'm going to tell the story really quick because she had posted something. She was struggling with some mental health challenges one night. She openly tells the story on Facebook. My husband saw her post and reached out to her and said, if you need somebody to talk to, I got you. So my husband's a Marine.
Yeah, he's a veteran.
He's a vet. He's a veteran himself.
Yep.
And he just made that connection with her. And so she brought Jay Morales to our table. And Jay said, here's what we're doing. And he was 2 minutes into his pitch. And I'm like, we're in.
Yeah.
I'm in. What do you need?
We don't. Yeah.
Tell
don't
us.
Like I'm sold. What do you need?
And God, and Paul, your husband, is so humble about all that. And it took me. We tell that story occasionally. Yeah.
I almost cried a little bit.
Oh no,
he's not the guy. He's not.
Yeah.
If you know him, he's not a super touchy feely, like I'm going to reach out and hug you and hold hands kind of guy. But he saw somebody struggling that he had only been introduced to and said, I got you. And this made this connection that I believe happens for a reason, and it brought Jay to our table with this event, with this cause. And we said, yep, we're in.
Well, and the pull tap for the Cardinal beer.
Yep.
It's the Marine Bulldog.
It is, because he was the guest of honor for the Marine Corps birthday one year, and that was what they gave him. So the tap handle for Cardinal beer in the tap house is the Marine Corps Bulldog.
And it took me forever to put that together because I'd go in there and I'd look for the Cardinal. They all have their brands on.
I'll tell you what, Marines, but they'll come in and they'll say, I'll take the Semper Fi. It says Semper Fi on the handle, and they'll say, I'll take you. I'm like, oh, you're a Marine or you're a Marine family. You know it instantly. Because they don't care what it is, they're going to drink it.
Yeah.
Yep. And once a Marine, always a Marine.
Yep.
That's the way it is. So this all got started just a couple years ago.
In 2020 was the first year.
And it's already grown to, you guys just concluded the last one, right?
In 2023, yeah. So in 2020, they raised $25,000. In 2021, we had 40 walkers, give or take. We raised $140,000.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah. In 2022, there were about 60 walkers. We raised $234,000. So in those first 3 years, 100% of that money was divvied up. It went out to local organizations that were directly helping veterans dealing with PTSD, mental health challenges, homelessness. It's Moving Veterans Forward is one of the huge organizations that they literally help vets get off the streets, get into apartments, get furniture, get all of these things to get them off the streets and transition them into housing at some point. So this year is 2023 is the first year. We had 83 walkers, I think, this year, 86,
so every
something
year
like
you're
that.
growing
We've grown
by 20 walkers.
We've grown. I think, and if Jay listens to this at some point, I think 100 is supposed to be our max. That's what we'll go for next year. I looked today at the website. It says we've raised $310,000. That is organic donations from people sponsoring walkers or just donating money.
I was just thinking, okay, so then where's the money come in? Are you just sponsoring a walker?
You're sponsoring a walker. You can sponsor me for $10, or you give me $100, or somebody gives me $500 as a walker. So we are responsible as walkers. We commit to raise a certain dollar amount every year. So there's a buy-in from people. This isn't just like, hey, I'm going to sign up and walk 50 miles and do this because I want to check the box or I want to do this. I mean, there's a commitment level that we look for in people who want to complete this. And there's something and it's not just the dollars, but it's the buy-in for understanding what this goes to for veterans. So that's a big deal.
Is there teams? Do people
You can do
this?
teams, but still if you have a team of 20, everybody on that team is responsible for raising the same amount of individual money. It's $2,500 per walker. That's what we ask people raise.
Okay.
$2,500 through sponsorships or through individual donations from friends, family, strangers. Who cares?
Okay. I just didn't know if each individual actually completes the 50 or if some people tap out,
No.
tagging.
You mean like teams, like market to market or something. No, you walk 50 miles.
Okay.
It is not a relay. It is not a tag out. You walk 50 miles.
Okay.
So I got my 150 mile medal this year because I walked 3 times. So I've completed 150 miles with this. Yeah, It's the first year was rough, but I learned a little bit. In fact, I just actually last 2 weeks ago, I lost one toenail, so that wasn't bad.
There you go. That's not too bad.
Not too bad.
So what's the path? Like, where do they go from, without getting too detailed, but I mean.
Yeah, it's basically up Highway 6. So we leave Lincoln and we come across Cornhusker Highway, and then it's up basically Highway 6 all up through Ashland. Before we get to Ashland, it comes through, where's Baker's Candies?
I know what you're talking about. I mean, I'm familiar with that whole highway, but I can't.
It goes past up Waverly and then back up there and through Ashland, and then we come back out onto Highway 6 in Gretna, come all the way up to Highway 370 and down 370.
Down 370. Okay.
Yep.
And end up at your place.
At Nebraska Brewing, yep.
And then everyone just gets beers and is exhausted.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty emotional. So it's like when this last march up this hill, and I've had to tell people this for 3 years because it's something. Because there's a hill at the bottom of 108th and Giles, and it looks like, a mofo. And I'm like, but you're at the end now. This is so cool. And I'm like, wait till you crest this hill and you see people. There were probably 600 people there waiting for us this year, just lining the streets with signs and cheering. And it's so cool to see after you've walked for 22 hours. Yeah. Representative of 22 people, 22 veterans a day committing suicide. So that's timed out to be 22 hours. There's a reason that we do that. And so you get to the top of that hill and your friends and your family and people you don't even know are there just cheering you on. It's really cool. And all of this is to support local veterans dealing with all these causes.
Wow.
Awesome.
I love that.
Yeah. And we've now, unless, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, if you guys wouldn't have pulled the trigger and did your own thing, you wouldn't be able to get so involved in an event like this on this level. It's so awesome. I just love it all.
I do feel like there's a cycle of things. And I just actually had a discussion with one of the founders the other day. And I said, I've always felt like there's something bigger that I was meant to be a part of. And I feel like this is my opportunity to do that, to support people. I didn't serve. My husband did. I have lots of family and lots of friends who all have. Yeah. And I don't know that maybe I do know people who have dealt with this on some level.
Sure.
Not to the level that some of these veterans are dealing with some of this stuff. But this is our chance to really take back. And our goal now is to build a community for veterans to be able to transition over, we believe, about an 18-month period. It'll cost us about $3.5 million to build the facility, but it'll have 22 tiny homes where veterans will come into the community, learn job skills, learn life skills, transition through there, and then transition into full-time housing on their own, and hopefully come back and support the community, the village, at some point. So that's our next goal.
Wow. I love that a lot.
Makes me think of something I was thinking about when you were talking earlier, because it's so common, so these guys and ladies are out doing their thing in the military, and then they come back and it's like, now what?
Right.
And that's where things start coming off the rails.
Right.
What, for you guys personally and your experience with your husband, what kept him from doing that?
I think he served at a different time. He didn't serve in wartime. There are a lot of things that people see that they don't know how to handle when they come home. They don't know how to handle. They don't know how to transition back to their family. I've even seen people who didn't necessarily serve in wartime, but they've spent a lot of time away from their families, and they don't know how to transition back into family life.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm going to say it was me. I was his key. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. I actually didn't know him when he served in the military.
I was going to say, I'm sure you're probably a huge part, though.
My husband was an Arabic linguist, actually, and a lot of people don't know that. He was an Arabic linguist in the Marine Corps, which was at a time when it was right before the Gulf War, and I really thought he would go back. I actually kind of encouraged him because I was like, this is what you trained to do. Go do it. But I think people with a good support system, and that doesn't even always work, the veterans that come back that deal with mental health challenges, 50% of them don't seek any mental health assistance at all. Yeah. And that's where things get sideways, I think, a lot of times. So this community and what we're trying to do with the local organizations that we sponsor, try to help teach them, give them different opportunities. Guitars for Vets, for example, is an organization that uses music. It's a 10-week program. They get guitar lessons, and they learn a song, and they get a whole guitar and a support pack. And at the end of it, they do a concert. But it gives them an opportunity to use music to deal with what their issues are. So there are several options that we try to work through to provide opportunities for them.
Yeah, and I think having, almost like that challenge and that mission, is what so many folks need, not just veterans, but so many folks need that. You need something that you're working towards.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of what you guys got involved in, and it's probably one of the reasons why you've thrived so much with it.
We support this. We support we're very veteran focused. We deal with Toys for Tots is another one that we support. So it's just anybody that we can focus on, that we can help in our local communities. That's our big hope.
Mm-hmm.
And those Toys for Tots, they're on it. I saw the boxes were out.
There you go.
You got to get it there sooner than later.
Car show is next weekend, so
okay.
On the 14th. So
all right, write that
big
down.
car show.
So something I think I missed early on, just to kind of recap that, is you guys, and then who were the other folks that you had mentioned that are a huge part of this?
The founders, or
I guess maybe that was the case. Yeah.
The three founders of the 50 Mile March are Jay Morales, Jamie Seaman, and Matt Bills. We have a board now. Actually, we are an official 501c3. We have a board and an executive director. We have a board of 7 people, which are very diverse backgrounds, which is super cool because I'm learning so much from so many different people that come from so many different aspects of corporate worlds, some military background. We're coming together for one cause,
right.
And that's this organization.
What was the motivation and the background with those founders?
To help veterans.
Yeah.
It's Jay Morales, and Jay is a really dynamic person. If you ever want to have him on, I can connect you guys. He's a really dynamic person, and I think at his core, he was actually divorced and homeless at one time. He'll talk about the fact that he slept on people's couches. He slept in his car for a while, and for him, the opportunity to provide a basis for veterans to have some self-worth, to know that they are important, to know that they mean something to somebody, and give them a chance. This is his goal.
And awesome. You made a fantastic point about it helps all people having a mission, having something that they're striving for, and sometimes that gets lost to how easy everything is nowadays. I also think it's just fantastic that you got somebody that's been through it, that understands it. And with especially these guys coming home, they don't want to be pansies or sissies or pussies, right? They want to deal with their own.
I got this.
Yeah, I'm a Marine.
They don't want help.
I got
I'm a Marine.
this.
I don't need your help.
Yeah.
Right? And
that makes them look weak. Right?
Yeah, it makes them look weak. Why is it bothering me? It shouldn't bother me. And that it just adds up. It piles up. And they're just people. We're all just people.
Right.
So I think something like this, where you're getting so many ex-military people involved, like Paul.
Yeah.
Man, just reaching out saying, I got you. You don't need to act like that. We can help. Come
Right.
on in. Go on a walk with us.
Yeah.
And I want to learn how to play guitar, so maybe I could get in on that.
They tried to teach Paul to play guitar. It did not work.
No.
Some people just don't have it.
Yeah,
Right, for sure.
Me too.
Well,
For sure.
we ordered guitars years ago, and you and one of our
Couldn't do
daughters tried on YouTube, and that lasted maybe 1 week. We
Sounded
still
fun.
have the guitars,
Yeah,
but
okay. All right.
hey, oh, that's
Buy,
funny.
sell, trade that shit.
Yeah, exactly. But
There
this
we go.
50-mile march, man, I think I want to do this.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got to get in on this.
Yeah,
This
it's a cool
is, like,
thing.
Totally up my alley.
God, and the walk itself, the march itself is just so emotional. I mean, for me, I break things up. I'm a task-oriented person.
So am I.
Okay, so I'm like, yeah, it's just 5-10 mile walks. I got this. The first year, my feet were fucking destroyed.
Yeah.
Just destroyed. Second year, I learned. I knew how to take care of my feet. And oh my God, my first year, how much can we talk about? I did not eat or drink, so I was severely dehydrated.
Oh my gosh, did you not have a backpack or anything?
Well, I did, but okay, like you're like, it's 50 miles.
Yeah,
like,
you're like,
what,
it's not
like what
that
if I
big
have
of
to
a
go to the
deal.
bathroom somewhere? I mean, as a girl, there are a bunch of dudes. They'll just go on the side of the road, but there are disproportionately more guys than girls. But that's changing too. So I learned how to take care of my foot care. The first year, I was severely dehydrated and severely undernourished. Like your brain can't function
Right.
when it doesn't have carbs. Guess what? We need carbs to make your brain function. So the second year, I learned about food and I learned about foot care. And I was like, I won't say it was a breeze, but it was
Easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was manageable. And so this year, I got to mentor a couple rookie walkers.
Oh, good.
And teach them I trained with them and taught them about foot care and told them Bish's RV is amazing. They actually sponsor RVs at each stop, so you actually have a place to go to the bathroom at each stop if you have to.
Okay.
So if you can make it 10 miles, you got this.
Yeah.
So I got to mentor some rookie walkers this year, and I felt really good about that, which I'll do again. And I'm hoping to be a squad leader for a whole squad this year on the march. So to share my knowledge and
so
do
cool.
that. Yeah, it's just like I feel like I'm just easing into something that really means something to me because I'm helping somebody only because I want to help them. There's nothing I get out of this other than somebody else is hopefully at some point going to have a bed to sleep in, or a counseling appointment, or one of the organizations we've supported is for dogs. Why can't I think of the word?
rescue?
Not rescue dogs. For
Hunting dogs? No.
just
Service dogs.
Service dogs.
There
thank
you
you.
go.
For service dogs. Thank you. Warhawk.
Okay.
They provide service dogs for PTSD. Like somebody gets a service dog.
That's huge.
Like this is like somebody else can have something in their life that makes their life better.
I just love that. I don't know. There's something about me that's like, oh, can I do? You know, like I told you, that's why I'm not drinking, guys.
I know.
I like beer for those that are listening, but I'm doing this huge. Well, it's not 50 miles. It's 24 miles in the Grand Canyon, and it's
no
a lot.
joke.
You know,
That's no
13
joke.
miles down, 7 across, 4 or 5 up. Like, I mean, backpack.
Yeah.
You know,
That's no joke.
30, 40 pounds. So 30. So, anyways, that's
We
happening
might
soon.
have to send her.
Yeah, right?
So I'm like, this is totally like, I know
do
you're
it.
talking about feet and haven't done 50, but you know,
All right.
then hiking and
Yeah. Well, and you got some just fantastic people. You already mentioned some of the founders and everybody, but we really caught wind of it having Michael Severe on.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Michael's amazing. He's a
he
great
is
dude.
so good.
I love
you
him.
want to talk about a promoter.
Yeah.
And I don't need.
He's so passionate.
Yes, and he does this thing where he's not promoting himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's promoting the march. But
Yeah.
when he's doing that, you know, I follow him on Twitter and whatever else. Yeah, and I got to be part of the walk because he had a Facebook Live going. You know why he was on it, and that.
Oh,
just
he
brings-
walked?
Oh yeah.
He's walked the last 2 years. He was in my squad in 2022.
Yeah.
And that's how I got to meet him.
Yeah.
And we were just literally walking shoulder to shoulder on this 50-mile march, just talking about all kinds. That's the other thing, man. You learn, you meet people and you learn people, and you become friends with people that you might not have ever crossed paths with in your life. And Michael is one of those people who I've known. Yeah. I've watched him on TV in Omaha for years and years, listened to him, followed his podcast, all that shit. But I got to meet him and walk shoulder to shoulder with him and call Cadence. He'll laugh about that, hopefully. And it was just so much fun. And you just learn stuff about people at 3 a.m. when you're like,
I bet.
you know, 16 hours without sleep at this point or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
And you guys are all like-minded. It's for the cause.
Right.
It's nothing more than that.
Right.
And it's a 50-mile march, man. It's a little taxing.
Well,
Like you're talking about your feet.
You're quick to learn the people who maybe underestimated why they were there. And there are some of those.
Do you have people bow out?
We did. We lost, I think, 4 or 5 people this year.
Because of injury, or they just couldn't make it?
But a little bit of both.
Okay. Yeah, I wondered.
Feet. Man, feet. People don't take care of their feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ben, Andy, you guys haven't said that you would be wanting to do this.
Well, you get signed up. You do it.
I know she's all on board.
Yeah, because and then we can raise all the funds around you, and then I'll be hanging out at the brewery. Andy will probably be there too.
I can do that.
You know
I'll
what?
probably already be there anyway.
Paul and my boys are
So they're
SAG
saying
crew.
no.
yeah, I saw that. Paul and my boys are the SAG crew. That's what they say. So they do handle all the stuff at the landing, which is awesome because we do land at Nebraska Brewing Company. But 2 years ago, it was my birthday, and they showed up at Baker's Candy and with donuts. And at midnight, and you're 20 miles in, you're like, fuck yeah, this is exactly what I needed. Yeah. I need me some. Can I have 2 Krispy Kremes, please?
There you go.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I could be an RV guy. I could drive an RV.
See, there you go.
You know, so I mean, there's some ways that we could support.
Jay's wife Becky has been in charge of the support crew. They're amazing. I could talk about this for several hours, but I know we only have so much time. But the support crew that lets the walkers, the marchers do what we do is also amazing.
Yeah, Ben,
so.
I could see you doing that since you're like EMT, you know, all that.
We could load up the truck and have all the medical goods and follow people around.
Right on.
Be fun.
I could have donuts and beer, and I'd be set. Yeah, I can do that.
All right. Well, we got it figured out.
There we go.
It's great, man.
Boom.
It's a cool. I feel like, and I had never heard about this for whatever reason.
We're growing, and so again, it started on this really quiet trajectory, like 6 marchers, and we want to raise $2,500, and then it was like, okay, now we got 40 people, and now, I mean, it's kind of like a groundswell. We're just getting started.
But what's crazy is like some of those numbers you're talking about and what you guys have been raising, like that's nothing to shake a stick at. That's a big deal.
And these numbers are literally just literally ground level.
Yeah.
Just people donating money.
Right.
We have several corporate sponsors that
Sure.
are not even included. Like this
Yeah.
$310,000 doesn't include some of our major corporate sponsors that
I bet.
are loading
Man.
it. So yeah, it is. It's awesome, and it goes to show you that people are willing to give to veterans when
100%.
they know that it can make a difference.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I love it. It's cool. I'm glad we're getting it out there and helping people.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
So how could people like help
Or find
since
find it.
since
and all
this
that,
just happened? Can you still?
Absolutely. So they can go to
Donate?
the 50 Mile March webpage, so 50milemarchfoundation.org.
Okay.
And there's a donate button right there.
Perfect.
There is a button in there if you want to apply to be a walker next year.
Okay. So I'm gonna have to
the
do that.
The deadline is coming up for
Oh, shoot.
for that. So go in and do it to be a walker, and you have to there's some criteria you have to complete to do that.
Okay.
But yeah, you can donate, you can volunteer. For next year's march.
I think we'd get our silent majority, all of our common folk, to rally behind Morgan.
100%.
I love it.
I think we can do this.
Okay.
I'm looking at it right now.
She's like, shit, now I'm on the hook.
No, I like all about it, but what I want to know what questions I have to say yes or no to. No
So
kidding.
it's
I got you. I'll mentor you. I'll train you.
It's 50milemarch.org, and it's 50 with numbers 50. March.org. And then for sure. And I like the idea that like people have to apply to be a walker and that have to really be committed.
And we talk about that word a lot. It's commitment.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
just like, oh, I want to do this, because a lot of
it's
people
not a
want
casual thing,
right. And a
Yeah.
lot of people want to do something. They'll be like,
Sure.
yeah, I want to
Yep.
do that. I can't tell you the number of people said, yeah, I want to do that.
Sure.
But are you committed to do it? And
my
that's a big word for
gosh,
us.
yes.
It's committed.
Yeah.
You're gonna. We ask you to raise a certain dollar amount. We ask you to participate in a pre-qualifying walk. We ask you to attend a couple of meetings that are informational for your own purposes. We ask a little bit of you because we want to know that you are committed to the cause and to what we're trying to do.
Well,
Very
I
cool.
commit Morgan.
Thank you.
And I commit to hang out at the brewery and wait for you to show up.
I can do
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
All of it
Does
is
your
necessary.
husband walk?
He does not. He
Okay.
so I jumped on this so quick, and he's like, "This is you. This is all you."
Yeah.
So he is with the rest of our team, who is invaluable to me, because I'm a task oriented person. I'm that person that wants to be there controlling how things finish at the end, and I just let the whole thing go, and they are on it. And when we get there, everything's amazing. So
That's
he's
huge.
he's my support crew.
That's awesome.
Good stuff.
Cool.
Well, Kim, we definitely appreciate you coming.
Thank you for having me.
100%. Every one of our guests, we like to give a gift. So this is your gift right here from some folks that we work with over at Handlebend.
Wow.
Handlebend.com. These guys are out in O'Neill, Nebraska, and they hand make copper products, primarily mugs and straws and these kinds of things to have drinks with.
Yeah.
So as you can see with that packaging, the packaging's crazy.
You can peek in there.
You're not going to be able to get it open.
You're gonna have
'cause-
to-
Oh my God!
It
look
comes
how
with a
cool
crowbar.
that
That
is.
little
Yeah.
crowbar.
Yeah.
A crowbar. It does
Right
really.
here.
On the
It
side,
literally
yeah.
has a crowbar on the
Yes.
side, so I can open the
It's the
package.
best.
This is
Yep.
cool as shit.
Yep. So you guys being, marketing minds and the cool stuff that you guys do with the beer cans and stuff, you can see with this right here, these folks have got it nailed.
No kid, literally.
Right, yeah.
Ba-dum-bum.
The packaging is so badass, and the product is super
Wow.
quality. So anybody who's looking for a cool, unique gift, handlebend.com. That's a Nebraska-made company. They're doing awesome stuff. So
They really are.
This is cool. When I get home and pry this open, I'm going to take a picture and post it.
Yeah.
For
Tag
sure.
you guys.
For sure.
Please.
Absolutely. No, we appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
We appreciate you coming. We hope you enjoy that.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed your time today.
I had a blast.
Yeah.
Like I said, I could stay here for several hours, but I know you guys got other shit to do. So.
There's always something. But when we
Can't
got
wait
beers,
to drink
I mean,
some more beer.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, not me more, but I'm going to head up
Soon.
to your place. What was it called again? The light beer?
Good game.
Good game.
game,
I'm
yeah.
going to say I
Yep,
want the
good
good
game.
game and not say the light beer.
I always have to think, and when I look up, I always have to think because we went through several names for it.
Oh, did you?
And I always want to call it this other name that I voted for, but nobody else did, so whatever. But then I have to think good game because you can slap somebody on the ass when you say it. So that's how I remember it.
Okay.
Oh.
Yep.
I'm totally not
okay.
going to forget it now because I associated it to something now.
Right.
Perfect.
You slap someone on the ass, and you get slapped in the face.
Well, it's the only time you can slap somebody on the ass is when you say good game.
You get all right, I'm on it. You get a pass.
It's authorized.
That's
Anything
awesome.
else, man?
No, I think we're good.
All right,
right.
cool. We appreciate it for sure.
Thanks, Kim.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, let's
Peace.
close it down.